Panago Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Well, before we talk William Nylander, before we get into the show, let me just say this. It's going to be a short show, and the reason is we all showed up late. It's not Steve. No, we all showed up late. Steve's got a meeting at 1. We were all supposed to be here at 11. It was more like 11:25. And then we get set up, and then we get kicked out of the original studio, and we go to a second studio and find out it doesn't have the proper recording equipment. So now we're in this studio. It's noon. We're starting an hour later than we thought, but hey, power show. Because next week, we're back to 2 episodes a week. Yay! And I get to see my buddies again more than once a week, which I'm excited about, to be honest.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, when Jesse walked up and I saw him in the lobby for the first time, I'm like, I haven't seen you in about 4 months. Like, that's how it felt.
Feels.
Yeah, and I'm not complaining.
No. That's Jesse saying I love you.
Wow.
That's Jesse for I love you.
That's me saying barbecue and him saying meeting. That's all that is. You're going to knock that light over for sure.
Okay, well, I'll stop moving my chair.
How about you do that?
It's a tiny studio. I don't know. Have you guys had the William Nylander cold sweats yet?
No, but Babcock said something the other day that, yeah, I guess sort of initiated the cold sweats a little bit.
I very definitely had them yesterday.
Well, and Nylander holding out, it's a common tactic, and his mission right now is to get his money.
Sure.
And he should be. There's absolutely no loyalty in professional sports. Go win a championship, go get as much money as you can, go do whatever the hell you want. However, if Nylander wants to have a good season, he's kind of limiting himself a little bit.
But I guess you could say that doesn't matter because if he gets his money, who cares?
Exactly.
What does it matter if he has a good season?
He's got time
for future performance.
Yeah.
He's got time to not build chemistry with Austin Matthews, but rekindle it.
Right.
He's already got 2 years.
Maybe build a little with Patrick Marleau.
Well, yeah. The one thing I'm worried about is he's going to be basically running the second power play unit, and not having him there on such a changed unit is a little concerning, but other than that, it's going to get done. It's gonna, it's going to get done by the time we post the show, right?
I woke up yesterday morning. I was like, you know what? Let's just call him and give him whatever the hell he wants. I want this team to get back together. But that, of course, would make me a terrible negotiator. And it was interesting listening to, and shout out Bob McCown for a great interview with Kyle Dubas yesterday. I stopped my whole day. I stopped building IKEA furniture for this interview.
Kyle Dubas just thing. Bob McCown, I don't believe you.
Well, I
don't believe you.
What was interesting though is they the way they attacked it was like, okay, what is it like in the room when you're having those conversations? Who's there with you? Is it GM one-on-one, or is the AGM there? Did Lou invite you into the room when you were doing contract negotiations under him? Like stuff like that. And anyway, you should listen to the interview because it's really interesting. But Chris Johnston yesterday wrote an article, and they did a report with Sean McKenzie from Leafs camp about it. And he said, first off, your teammates have kind of stopped messaging you because they don't want to interfere too much. And the coach stops talking to you because Mike Babcock even said, I haven't talked to him since September 13th because I don't want to be seen to be interfering with the process. And so you're not hearing from your teammates. You're not hearing from your coach. You're probably watching the reports from Sweden because of course you are. And you're looking at this situation and going, if I don't sign this contract, whatever it is they're offering me, I will lose $32,000 a day based on $6 million prorated. Yeah. So the second the season starts, or they submit rosters, which I believe is the 2nd of October.
It's very soon, yeah.
That means that he's going to lose $32,000. And that...
It's not going to get to that.
You think it gets done before the season starts?
It'll get done before the season starts.
See, it's funny because a month ago you were sitting here saying, it's going to get done before training camp. It'll get done at the end of training camp.
I don't recall saying that. Jesse, all I have is my opinion today, and it'll get done.
All right.
It's a 5-year plan that changes every day, Jesse.
That changes every 5 years.
Yeah, listen, it's good enough for Mike Babcock. They can and they will. Shut up. Shut up, okay? I'm not high-strung about it at all.
You know what? Here's the fact, though. From everything, you've heard this. You've heard that there's a huge chasm between his camp and the Leafs. And of course there is. No. I mean, any contract I've done, there's usually a huge chasm between what I want and what the company I'm working for wants to pay me.
I don't believe that at all. I think the chasm these days is term, and they seem to have an agreement on that. They both want long term. So that's good. Now then there's the money.
Dubas's words were suboptimal if they had to do a bridge deal. Neither side wants that, so they won't.
Exactly. I don't think he would put it out there that it's suboptimal if he really thought there was a good chance of it happening. Because then if he signs Nylander to a bridge deal, he's like, well, I pre-announced that this is not ideal, not what I wanted. First big contract negotiation with a restricted free agent anyway. Sort of forgot that Tavares character.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in some ways a failure. No, I don't think it's... I think he'll get signed. Shut up, Jesse.
So
don't give me that.
The thing is that William Nylander is not an $8 million guy. And he has not yet,
I don't think so.
to me, proven he's a $7 million guy.
Well, it's not that he's not an $8 million guy. It's just that look around the league, you can sign him for less than that. And Friedman, I think, nailed it. You know, there's a couple good examples around the league. Ehlers, which is 6 times 7. Pasternak, which is 6 times 6.666 infinity.
The number of the beast, yep.
Yes. Yeah, evil. And then there's friggin' stupid... the Leon Draisaitl contract that's just screwing everything up. What is it, 8.25?
Yeah, but Leon Draisaitl took advantage of a situation in Edmonton where
Peter Chiarelli is his GM.
Yeah, Peter Chiarelli
forget
screwed
the
that up.
McDavid thing.
The fact that the McDavid number came out, I bet Leon Draisaitl said, okay, well, we're not signing for anything less than this if that's what McDavid makes. And that was the big problem, is that as soon as the McDavid number leaked, which at the time was like 13 and a half.
13.
Yeah, so as soon as that leaked, Leon Draisaitl's contract negotiations went like, all you got was report after report after report about how bad the negotiations were going. And I think the Oilers eventually capitulated because they really believed, coming off that second round appearance, that they were Stanley Cup favorites. They were odds-on betting favorites in Vegas.
Fat and happy.
Fat and happy.
They were lovely, fat and happy, and it helps that he was arguably their MVP during that playoff run.
Now, he did have a pretty good year last year. I mean, he's
a great player.
He's a great player, but he's not. If you were to do that again, and if Chiarelli were to do that again, I wouldn't think that's because I mean, it really hamstrung them this year. They brought in. Tobias Reeder was their big get. I think that they would love to have a couple extra $1 million to play around with. Chris Russell contract notwithstanding.
Well, listen, Peter Chiarelli is such a brilliant, smart person that he doesn't need to sign a big name player because he's already got Ty Ratty scoring hats.
Ty Hattie.
I mean, the whole thing with Pittsburgh for the longest time was they didn't really need the expensive wingers because they spent all their money down the middle, had all their talent down the middle, and they helped save them money. So maybe the Oilers can try the same thing.
Well, they said that according to Mark Spector this morning on Sportsnet.
Is he cantankerous?
Oh, Spector? Oh, yeah.
No.
Maybe a little bit. He did say that Kyler Yamamoto, Pontus Aberg, still the best name in the league.
I forgot about him.
Jesse Puljujarvi and Ty Ratty were brought in by McClellan at the beginning of the season saying, guys, there's jobs on the right side here. So I guess Puljujarvi's performed well, Yamamoto's performed well, Ratty's performed well, and Pontus Aberg's as bad as he was coming in. It's like he's the fourth line guy.
And absent from the Oilers' excellent performance last night, Ryan Strome. Interesting. And he was Puljujarvi's center.
It's the preseason, right?
It is the preseason, yeah.
Yeah, Ty Ratty leads the league in preseason points.
Hell yeah.
Does he have 9?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere up there. I don't know.
But here's the thing.
He leads, which is ridiculous.
Remember that Benoit Pouliot and now Yakupov had outstanding seasons in the 40 games that they played with Connor McDavid, too, in his rookie year. Like, of course, Ty Ratty's going to score. You're with Connor McDavid, and all the power to him. He's played 49 career NHL games.
Are they finally going to go McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge down the middle? Because they've never stuck.
Apparently, last night they were talking about Nuge on the wing because Nuge, I think, was playing the wing last night.
He had a good time on the wing,
and they were like, Nuge might get 100 points this year. That was whoever was calling the game. I think they've got new play callers in Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, well, Nuge could get 100 points this year. And everybody, even Oilers Twitter, was like, nah.
Maybe
not. Peter Chiarelli calling the game.
He might be. I don't know. But, Nuge is like a 60,
Oilers
70.
might win the Cup this year. They might have the best GM in hockey.
He might score 40 more points than his career average. Really. I think that's a little obnoxious.
William Karlsson.
Hey. Right. You're right. You're right.
Nuge, I like him. Yeah, totally. I think he's a top line player. Yeah, sure, he could be. I think he's going to score 100 points. All right, listen.
Let's bag it off. Bag it off a little bit.
You're
Pump the
allowed
brakes.
to like him, but my God.
So anyway, with when it comes back to, we're going back to Nylander for just a second here. You believe it's going to get done. You hope it's going to get done. My sense is that the Leafs have to stand firm on this because they have a plan, and he's got to stand firm to a point. But at the end of the day, like, is the difference between $6 and $7 million? You can meet in the middle.
I think
You're not
so.
an $8 million guy. Like, so
Yeah.
just you haven't proven that yet. 2 61-point seasons back to back. That's great. That's not $8 million money.
So your sense is that it's going to come down to dollars and not cents.
Oh,
Jesse,
No.
mid-season form.
mid-season
I'm
Jesse right
disappointed.
now. He just said no. By the way, he just disagreed with you on his own performance.
We have sold so many of those stupid mugs with your stupid mug on
Caprice
it.
wants to get rid of all of our mugs and just have a bunch of your face. She's
bought
like,
one.
let's just get rid of them. Like, what do we have other mugs for?
Covered full of Jesse bugs.
And by the way, yes, we do have to buy our own mugs. Anybody wondering? Yes, we do.
Teespring's great, isn't it?
It's so
I have a
awesome.
guy
It doesn't
I need to talk to.
differentiate.
There is a bit of a ripple effect for the nerds.
Nerds
Of the Nylander stuff. And I know a lot of you are like, enough of the big names like Nylander. Let's get into the Josh Levos of the world.
Yeah, let's talk more about Curtis McElhinney.
Well, hell yeah, we're gonna get into that. But I'm just looking at the Leafs lineup for tonight against Montreal. Marleau, Matthews, Ennis, Moore, Tavares, Marner, Levo, Kadri, Brown, Janssen, Lindholm, Kapanen. So I look at the forward lineup, and here's the ripple effect. Ennis is still up there on the top line as a placeholder for Nylander. I have no idea what their plans are for him, because Levo, Kadri, Brown has been a line all preseason long.
And they've looked good.
And they've looked all right. I've really liked Tyler Ennis. I've liked Tyler Ennis more than Levo. Do you just automatically give Levo the boot?
Yes.
And oh my
Yeah.
God, that's so hard.
Yeah,
you would do that?
And he's on the second power play unit, but Levo is not what Mike Babcock expects out of his fourth line. Is not what Levo brings. And let's be honest, are you going to play Levo over Kapanen?
No.
Are you going to play
Levo's on the,
depends-
on the
depends on
left
the
side?
role.
Okay, are you going to play Levo over Janssen?
I'm gonna throw it out there. Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
No, I wouldn't.
out of your
I
mind.
wouldn't. I bet you Babcock makes Janssen sit a few times. Janssen has not had the greatest preseason. I have wanted him to be undeniable, and he hasn't been.
Kapanen was one of the lone bright spots in that game on Monday against Montreal.
And he was asleep too at the beginning of the preseason, and then he ended up being one of the bright spots, assistant captaining. Assistant captaining. I love it.
That is good.
I know. I'm clever. I'm a smart guy, Adam. That's what I do. Puns and nothing else. So there was that. Now, Levo and Ennis, have their future sort of in flux as a result of the Nylander thing and their season in flux. Janssen is maybe getting a second chance to really prove himself. He had a good second half against Montreal, but who cares? The
He's got to have a good game tonight.
He's got to have a fantastic game tonight. He's got to be, he's got to have the sort of performance that made him a top performer in the playoffs last year in the AHL.
Remember, they can still send him down.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Tie goes to the veteran.
And doesn't that solve so many problems for them? I wonder if they do. Can they still send him down? I
Yeah,
think they can.
they can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can.
He's on the last year, I think, of his ELC.
But the one guy who's probably saying, no, Willie, take your time, get your money, Trevor Moore. That guy has played great, had a weak first game, but played great otherwise, and was great in the AHL last year. And he's earned this opportunity to, hey, look, Hyman's out. He's got a hip pointer? I don't even know what that is. Something with your hip, I assume. And now Trevor Moore, Mike Stevens, shout out. Trevor Moore gets to play with Tavares and Marner.
Yeah, it was like Mike
Opportunity of a
Stevens and
lifetime.
Ian Tulloch have been on the Trevor Moore train since December. They've since he started coming into prominence.
What did they expect from him?
Trevor Moore?
Yeah, I think he's a bottom 6 guy.
Contend for the extra forward slot. But
Okay.
But this is a guy that came out of nowhere, right? He should never have made the NHL. He should never have played a game. Is where that was his
Sure.
career projection,
he's
right?
taken a lot of
Okay.
steps.
Yeah. So and that's the thing is that he could be one of those guys that's a gregarious sort of energy guy on your fourth line when you don't have. Like when you've got a guy injured or something like that, he can step in for a few games. I don't think he's
guy you need, like when you have 3 injuries, which
Yes.
you're going to get late in the season.
or you're resting guys.
Yeah.
So that Trevor Moore, I think, is not going to come in and be a star, but he definitely is. He's all the right attitude, which they love, and he is all the right. Like he does all the right things with the puck. There aren't a lot of giveaways. There aren't a lot of turnovers. Great puck possession in terms of just knowing where to put it, so that it can make it easier for other line mates. And I think that's a big key to his game.
Justin Bourne put up a great clip, and again, it's just like an innocuous sort of thing that only a video guy like him would notice, but it was just a timid-looking turnover in the neutral zone that didn't need to be made. It's because he wasn't active enough. And then in the second game, he was in on 2 goals, only got an assist on 1, but both were a result of him digging the puck out of the corner.
Right.
Which, if I'm not much mistaken, is Zach Hyman's role on that line.
Right. And he's got the hit pointer. He's not. Is he in for tonight?
No, Trevor Morris.
Yeah, he might as well.
So he could be tonight's Ty Ratty.
I can't wait
and be the who's that guy getting a hat trick.
So because we have limited time, I'm going to jump right into this because I think it's important that we bring it up. So the McElhinney Sparks, I guess I don't want to call it a war, but like the McElhinney Sparks debate is interesting because Sparks has been not good.
He was real bad.
And McElhinney last year was very good in the limited time he saw.
And this year.
And this year has been good.
In the preseason. How many goals has he allowed this preseason? 1? Come on.
Now,
all he does is stop pucks.
you can't make the argument
doing it, but
you can't make the argument that Sparks was a bit thrown to the wolves because the Leafs essentially started the Marlies, but
they were bad. But like on the second goal where I think it was Riley Hainsey just let whoever it was go for a walk, all Sparks did was like lie down. Like he looked like a fish. So I texted someone, he looked downright nautical.
So you brought a really good point up to me on the weekend, and I think it's important to bring this up here because I think there is a bit of bias at play in anything that you do, and I think there are 2 players on this team that are different directions in terms of what we're seeing on hockey Twitter. The first thing is everybody seems to be cheering for Garrett Sparks. The second is everybody seems to be cheering against Igor Ozhiganov.
Yes, and I think for different reasons. But like the Sparks McElhinney debate is less of a result and more of logic
and asset management.
And yeah, like McElhinney, as good as he is, he's at the tail end of his career, playing the best hockey of his life. But he's at the tail end of his career. Sparks is a guy you've developed since he was a teenager. He won AHL Goal of the Year. He looks like he might finally be ready for prime time, even though he struggled in the preseason. And you're going to lose him for nothing so that you can have 1 extra year of McElhinney? That doesn't seem like the smartest thing in the world. The cost of that is Curtis McElhinney. Well, luckily you got him for free. So there's that. But the guy we're forgetting in all of this is Calvin Pickard, who for at least the 3rd time this preseason is backing up Freddie. Now, I'm pretty sure Freddie is playing the full game tonight, so maybe I shouldn't read into that too much. But seeing Anderson with Pickard so often and just looking at Pickard's career, the fact that the Leafs could also lose him for free, I think my choice might be Pickard.
I was going to say mine. That's mine too. And here's this is a hot take, but is it too much to say that maybe Garrett Sparks just isn't an NHL goalie at this point? I
don't know. All I can say is my feeling on the thing. There was obviously my awkward text thing with him, but there's a comfortability with a goalie when they're good or they're bad, when they're on your team. There's just a feeling you have. I don't feel comfortable with Garrett Sparks in the Leafs net. I don't.
So
okay, going into Game 7 of the Marley series there in the Calder Cup final, did you know heading into that game that Sparks was brilliant in, by the way, but did you know heading into that game what version of Garrett Sparks you were going to get?
No, because he was terrible in Game 6.
He got torched. And that's going to happen. Freddie got torched a couple times against Boston, and I have nothing but confidence in Freddie, but I don't know what version of this player I'm going to get.
So here's what I want to bring up. Everybody's going to say, well, he won AHL Goaltender of the Year last year. Let's start from 2000 and see how many goaltenders who've won this award we
I haven't looked
recognize.
this up. Okay, interesting.
First one is Dwayne Rollison, who obviously took the Oilers to the Stanley Cup final and then got injured.
And wait, what year is that?
2000.
Oh, okay. My God,
Martin Prusek, who had a cup of coffee, I think.
I remember him with the Sens.
Mark Lamoth, who I don't think ever played.
Who?
Mark Lamoth.
I don't know.
Jason LaBarbera, who was a Kings guy, I believe, and just never really made
Career
it.
backup.
Career
Yeah.
backup. Ryan Miller,
Good
player, 2004, 2005.
Very good.
Danny Sabarin, who I remember.
Oh, he had a cup.
And then
of coffee. that
Yeah.
is.
And then 0607,
Stanley.
Jason LaBarbera again.
Oh, okay.
So there you go, right? 0708, Michael Layton, another guy expected, highly touted, never really turned into much.
Had a hard time keeping his footing once he got it.
Corey Schneider won it in 0809.
Great.
There's a good
0910, Jonathan Bernier, career
That's a
backup.
good one.
He looked like he was going to be so much better than he is. I don't know.
I would say career backup. I'd say few years starter.
Okay, if you're his agent, is he paying you?
On average, 1B.
Thank you.
There you go.
Oh man, like 1C,
On
man.
average.
Come on.
He could split it.
Sure, he can play 40 games. You won't make the
Yeah.
playoffs, but he can play,
He can
40,
play
games.
40 games.
He's not a...
The Avalanche made the playoffs.
They did.
They sure did.
Facts.
Brad Thiessen, 2010, 2011. Never heard of him.
I think I have one of his cards. I don't know if
of course you do. Yan Danis, 2011, 20...
Denis.
It's D-A...
Yan Danis.
D-A-N-I-S.
I know.
Cannot be Denis.
I'm telling you,
That's
the
a
guy's
joke.
name is Jan Denis. You're supposed to be the francophone in here, Adam Wild.
2012, 2013, Nicholas Fedberg. Never heard of him. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you have.
Boston or Minnesota?
Yeah, well,
I can't remember.
he's done really great for himself. The NHL. Well, come on. This is
Not impressed.
But listen, just because you know him doesn't make him an NHL goalie.
Backup, I'm pretty sure.
For who?
Backup-ish.
This was 5 years ago.
He's a 1B in
He's
the
a backup.
AHL.
Do you want to back up? If we're so worried about losing Sparks because he's 25 for 1 year of McElhaney, if Svedberg's still not in the NHL,
Shut up. Let me look up.
It doesn't matter.
Svedberg.
This
I
is
bet
the
he's
point.
sick.
The
I
next
bet
one,
he's the best.
guys, who cares?
No,
And the
I
next
do.
one,
No, Adam, this is all semantics here.
This is, okay. Oh,
This is
never
a short
mind.
show.
He plays in Sweden.
of course
He
he
hasn't
does.
been in the NHL for 3 years. My
Yeah,
bad.
because the point is, how long do you expect
4
your
years.
backup to last? My point in this is, next one, Jake Allen has made it, has
Very
had some
good.
off years.
Yeah.
Next one after that, this is another good one, Matt Murray.
Hey,
That's a hell of a
Hey.
goalie. The
I'm
next,
surprised he even played in the AHL.
next one after that, Peter Budaj,
That's a career guy.
career backup.
Yeah.
Career
Yeah,
backup.
but when he won it, though, he was well into his 30s, though. Like, this
Yeah,
isn't
that
like
is-
a...
no, he's not a young guy, and probably shouldn't have been there. Troy Groshnik won it before Garrett Sparks.
He's
Shark
going to say
system.
he's very good.
In the Shark system. No, that's all I know about it.
He's in the Shark system. Yeah, San Jose Barracuda. Good name.
Yes.
That's actually what I think the Sharks should have gone with Barracuda. I think that's way cooler name than Sharks.
No,
Barracuda,
no.
the Cudas.
Because it's,
could show up in a
Barracuda
Barracuda.
isn't hokey enough. With the Sharks, there's so many gimmicks you can do.
that's true.
Whereas with the Barracuda, it's just the song.
That's just a mean fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And then Garrett Sparks this year. My point in all
No,
that,
but that's like batting 500.
not
too
even,
bad.
man.
That's a list.
Yeah.
Like, dude, okay. You could bring up the Calder and have about as much success over
Okay.
that time span.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I guess-
Not the Calder Cup, the Calder
Trophy.
My point in this, guys, is that I don't think we're losing a potential superstar here. This isn't like you're losing Ryan Miller or Corey Schneider. We're losing a career,
Yeah.
probably suboptimal goalie, to quote Kyle Dubas.
Well,
although he didn't say that about Garrett
suboptimal,
Sparks.
I think it's unacceptable to
gonna
lose him for nothing.
He's going to be mediocre.
I still think it's unacceptable to lose
So-
him for
But
nothing.
you're going to lose McElhaney, who's mediocre. And you might lose Pickard, who's mediocre. So if he's the
Might
guy
lose
not
both.
performing right now, and this is the season you're going for it, it makes absolutely zero sense to hold on to him and go, gee, I sure hope he improves to mediocre.
Last night it was fun to make fun of Cam Ward, but I'm like, make a couple saves, Cam. I don't want the Blackhawks to claim Sparks
So
off waivers.
one question. What's the stipulations on each goalie? Do they all have to clear
All,
waivers?
four,
Yes.
all of them do.
All three? Okay. So,
Now, if you put them on waivers the day that they submit rosters, most players make it through.
okay.
I have a feeling that 2 of 3 of those guys would make it through.
You think so?
Yeah, and I don't think at this
Potentially
point
all of them.
Sparks
Yeah.
doesn't get claimed. By the way, there's no
You
way.
know,
Not now.
Okay. And so they'll need 2 of those guys need to go down, obviously, and 1 stays.
And they probably are expecting to lose one because I know they want Casimir Kaskisuo to actually play on the Marlies this year, not on the Chicago Wolves.
Yeah.
So
he was decent.
He was, and I think they want to see what they have in him. So I know they're expecting to lose one. I'm
for
with
free.
You.
That's
for free.
the expected. Okay.
Yeah,
that somebody's going to claim one of them. Okay.
I honestly, listen, I know that it's maybe a bit unfair, but this is the game. This is it, guys. You either seize it or you
It's
don't.
totally the game, but it's wait, so sorry, who are you saying the Leafs should go with, Mac?
Mac or Pickard.
Okay, what's the plan next year? Or do you worry about it next year?
Worry about it. It's a backup goalie.
You can pick up backup goalies anywhere. I mean,
Come on, man.
A backup goalie becomes your starter? Like that. Bob McKenzie put it in a way I had never really considered, and I question how he looked at it, but it gave me pause. With Sparks, you're giving up a guy who's going to be your backup now and could in the future be a starter in the NHL.
No, he couldn't.
I was like,
No.
I don't know about that.
No.
I worry about him.
If Anderson is injured tomorrow and can't play for the rest of the season, who's your starter?
You got to start with McElhinney.
So I think
That's the guy who's
choice
performed.
The choice is easy then.
You go with the guy.
Yeah.
It's a hot hand. It's always the
You're
hot
going
hand.
with McElhinney. You got to keep him.
Is it weird that in the AHL I would trust Sparks with my life, and then
Would you?
when it comes
After
to
Game 6, would
no,
you?
probably not. But I'm more confident in him than Pickard, and then when it comes to the NHL, I would rather have Calvin Pickard in that. Is that weird?
No, I think because there's a track record with Calvin Pickard, and that's attractive. That's what's attractive about him is that he has this. He's played in Colorado. He was a good backup. He was torched in the year that they were terrible because he was kind of thrown to the Wolves.
Yeah,
and
played 55 games.
yeah, which is crazy. I don't have any problem really. As long as he's solid, I don't care. We need him to play more than 18 games, though. That's my issue with Mac is that he won't.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. I don't know what they're
I don't
gonna
think
do.
Sparks is. I just don't think he has it.
Leafs might lose 2 or 3 guys to waivers, and I'm not just talking about goalies. Like,
Fine.
is anyone in here convinced Connor Carrick is making the opening night roster?
I'm convinced he's not.
I don't think he's making it.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think he's had. Honestly, that's
think
another guy. I
he
don't think he's been very
cleared
good.
I don't think anybody's picking up Carrick.
Actually,
no.
I think there would be a team that would take it. I would take a swing at him because he's $1.3 million. Like, really?
Yeah, but I don't think any other team would look at Connor Carrick like the way we look at him because he's ours, and we're like, oh yeah, he has potential and all that. But I don't think Pittsburgh's sitting there and being like, ooh, Connor Carrick, there's a little gem.
Well, I mean, maybe a team like Ottawa or maybe even Montreal. I think
Ottawa
there's a
could look
reason.
at you and be like, hey, you might be in the lineup. That's not a team.
Not after that video I posted yesterday. that hurts. I think there's a reason though that he's making 1.3, and it's not because that's just his approximate worth. It's because that's almost exactly, I think, the amount of money you can bury in the AHL under the cap. Like with the exception of maybe like 50.
I thought it was
Gs
$925.
or something. Like no, it was. I thought it was 1.2 million
Okay.
or something like that. It changes each year, I think.
Anyway, I don't listen. You can find backups. And yet every year people go, well, oh man, they might lose this backup goaltender, and yet teams seem to figure it out.
But he's young.
They signed John Tavares. You telling me they can't figure out a backup situation next year? Come on.
Is
really?
this a preseason discussion?
Yes.
Is that what's happening?
This is stupid. You go with the guy who's good right now, and you hope you don't lose Sparks, and maybe he can get his game together and earn his way back into the NHL. But right now, I don't think there's anybody in this room or anybody watching this that can say definitively, yes, Garrett Sparks has proved himself this preseason. And by the way, yes, he had a great playoff last year, but that was last year. That's over now.
The numbers, by the way, Sparks is 62 of 70 in the preseason. McElhinney is 32 of 33. And Pickard is 19 of 20. Those are saves. So there you go.
I'd like to see Pickard get a few more minutes.
Yeah, he's only gets 20 shots.
He had the one game where he let in a goal on 6 shots. Poor guy.
Yeah.
And the Leafs were winning the whole time. It's just the Sens could muster nothing.
The other player I wanted to get to, which I brought up earlier, is Igor Rozhganov.
Yes, and let me say the Leafs pairings for tonight: Riley Hainsey, Gardner Zaitsev, Rosen, Ozhiganov.
That's the starting, because Dermott's injured.
Yeah, here's my theory. Dermott doesn't start the season, but not just that. Even if he does, I think Rosen and Ozhiganov both make the roster. I think the Leafs go with 3 spares, 1 forward, 2 D. Hopefully they wise up and do something like on the second half of a back-to-back. they use a completely different pair. Ozhiganov, I couldn't tell you if Ozhiganov's going to be a good NHL player.
But he's looked good.
He's looked all right. Like, I mean, everyone's looked good in flashes. Connor Carrick has looked bad at times. He's had some good flashes as well. Justin Hall has looked great at times and completely vulnerable, especially defensively at others. And then you get Ozhiganov, who to me hasn't really stuck out much. He's been physical. That's good. But, like, I feel like people are cheering against him. And, guys, give him a chance.
Just because he didn't play in SKA last year, I mean, you have to remember
Stop
that
taking KHL stats at face value.
Yeah. And remember, too,
a goofy league.
That the second that a player decides they're going to leave, do you think a KHL franchise is going to play them all the time? No. This is Russia. They'll do whatever the hell they want. They've got 2 teams for 1 team there. They'll be like, yeah, you know what? Well, we're going to sit you now because you're not going to be here next year anyway.
And it was St. Petersburg, who I got to imagine is, getting a little fed up at a Leaf shenanigans.
Probably.
Because wasn't that what happened with Zaitsev? As well? And I think it was the same team?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So over a year ahead of time, you're going to steal one of our defensemen again? I don't think so. Yeah, enjoy the third pair.
Yeah, or you're not playing, Igor. That's basically, I wouldn't shock me at all. Now, the couple other players because we got to move on to other teams here.
No.
A couple other players who've been impressive in the games we've seen. Let's start with Pierre Engvall.
Yeah, buddy. He's just another option. Like, I'm not going to go crazy and say, I don't know about that, but, like, he's an offensive weapon in the making, I think. There's a bunch of guys at this camp right now who need to have huge seasons in the AHL, right? Like, Moore is a guy who may go up and down depending on the Leafs' injury luck and all that. Then there's guys who are baking.
Yeah, Engvall's baking.
Engvall, Bracco, Brooks. Oh, I'm real excited for Bracco. But, man, Engvall, I think Babcock is going to fall in love with this player if he's not already because he's 6'4" every time he steps on the ice.
Tyler Ennis.
What a hungry player. I love him. I really do. I don't understand what happens to this lineup when Willie gets back.
He goes to the third line with Kadri.
Oh, poor Josh. What did he ever do to you or anyone?
SDA. Sneaky.
Great. And I can't wait to...
17 years old.
I'm going to drive...
He's not 17.
He's 18 now.
He just turned
he's
18.
14.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you see? So there's the picture the Leafs tweeted of Dubas and SDA sitting on the couch signing the contract. And there's papers all over the table. Someone photoshopped it so that the papers have like little drawings on them, and it's like cat, dog, horsey, cow. I don't remember what it was.
Well, SDA, we're just talking about.
SDA. I am going to drive to Peterborough games just to watch him.
Yeah, he'll be fun.
And Liam Kirk.
He'll be fun.
Yeah.
Rasmus Sandin
has, looked like an impressive junior player. A guy who's clearly not ready.
I think he looks better than an impressive junior player.
But
he's an AHL player.
He's not going to play in the AHL.
I honestly think that's not what's going to happen. I think he's not going back. I think they're going to ask him to come and play with Timothy Liljegren. Absolutely.
That would be something, because I think they're already going to do that with Hollowell and Dursey.
And
or at very least Dursey.
And Rogla was Timothy's home club, was it not?
He had a few.
It was.
Yeah. So I think they're going to do the same thing with Sandin as they do with Liljegren. I don't see how it benefits him to go back to Sweden unless they're not going to be able to guarantee him time with the Marlies, which they will because he's a first-round pick. Like, it doesn't...
It's up to them, right?
Well, yeah, just put him on the ice like they did with Timothy. Like Timothy, there was, if you read like what Scott Wheeler's was reporting last year and that sort of thing, there were times when Timothy Liljegren didn't necessarily deserve the ice time that he got, but because he's the first round guy, you throw him out there because you got to develop this guy. And as the season went on, he improved.
Stark contrast to when the Marlies were playing Scott Clemenson ahead of Justin Bogey.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, maybe we should develop this guy.
So the point I'm trying to make here is, why let him go back to Sweden, and then he's got to readjust to the small ice again next year, and then he's not around the staff that Toronto has. And let's be honest. Like Tyler Ennis even said,
send him to the Sioux.
Yeah, can he not go back to the Greyhounds?
He can, but why would he? He doesn't have to though. He doesn't have to. He's 19. And he's technically a loan to Sioux. So the way that it actually works is he can actually play in the AHL this year.
I think there's not going to be enough ice to go around, especially on the left side with the Marlies. They should maybe send him back and just let him crush.
Over who? Who's the?
Yeah, but are you send him back to Sweden or the OHL?
Sorry, the OHL.
Oh yeah, that's the side I'm on.
You think so?
Say
Yeah.
You give him the ice time in the Sioux and let him dominate.
Let him be
Yeah.
a number one,
Yeah.
which is what you hope he projects to be. Whereas on the Marlies, he'll
I think
he'll
it's
be
the
a
same
back.
thing with Marner, where you send him back to the Knights and then you go let him do his thing. Then you bring him up to the NHL when he's ready.
Yeah.
Instead of let him play.
Don't let him go back to Sweden. No offense to everybody
Yeah, no,
who's Swedish
don't
hockey.
go to
It
Sweden.
doesn't make sense
No.
that he's on the big ice. It
No.
just doesn't make sense. It's an
I don't
adjustment.
think he will.
No.
I don't think he will. If he does, it'll be his decision because he wants to make some cash.
You know, I never thought. And
Which is fine.
We're going to switch gears here quick because again, we're limited on time. I never thought Zach Smith would be the nail in the coffin of Stone and Duchesne not re-signing in Ottawa.
What?
But here we are.
Yeah. We were talking about this yesterday. And it was like Duchesne has been like the nicest guy throughout this entire process. He hasn't said anything out of line, and all of a sudden Zach Smith is on waivers and he snaps.
It's a kick in the balls.
like that's it. It was so
My name is Matt
strange.
Duchesne, and I've been kicked in the balls.
Matt Duchesne is kicking himself in the balls.
Actually-
he didn't have to ask for a trade from Colorado.
Jesse, can you check the waiver wire because it's just past noon?
Elliot
Zach
said
Smith cleared.
Everyone cleared.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Every single guy.
Which
So-
makes him more tradable because you can send him up and down now.
Yeah, and also like he could still be on the sentence, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it was just a clever thing.
Maybe his balls aren't
on their
kicked.
part. No. Oh, my balls have healed. My name is Matt Duchesne. Talking about balls. Sorry. It's a great quote.
It's nice that he's honest.
Has anyone had worse luck than Matt Duchesne?
No.
In the NHL?
I think Matt Duchesne now knows that he shouldn't force trades. He should just sign somewhere in the summer and just shut up.
He did it to himself.
Yeah, do not re-sign with Ottawa, otherwise you did this to yourself again.
I was on the 47-point Colorado Avalanche. I'm going to ask for a trade because it couldn't possibly get any worse than this. Fast forward like 18 months. We're a team.
Yeah, really.
We're a sort of hellish team, dystopian team. Poor Matt Duchesne.
According to C.J. Stevenson of The Athletic, privately, players were furious.
About Zach Smith.
Yeah, they see it as a move to dump a popular teammate as nothing more than a cost-saving measure. And you know what? Honestly, yes, Zach Smith had a bad year last year. And yes, he makes too much money for the next few years. But the question I have is, so fucking what?
Well, like,
Like, you're terrible anyway.
reclaim the project is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Don't submarine his value the way you did with Mike Hoffman and the way you did with Erik Karlsson. Try to get something back.
Try to reclaim that. No, like I'm not even saying try to get something back. I'm trying to say do what you can to make Zach Smith the player that you signed to that money. You know what I mean?
Make him a good story, too.
It's sometimes the most cost-effective thing to do. Like at some point, like I know the Sens are cash strapped, but get value for your damn money, man. If someone took them off their hands, whatever, I guess it's a wash. Burying him in the minors made no sense to me.
I don't think they will.
No, and I don't
I think
think
it's
that was
just
ever really in their plan. But so you got to ice a roster for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And if he's a guy for you who obviously keeps his teammates happy,
Which you
can
need
maybe-
when it's going to be a bad year.
yeah, can maybe contribute 15 goals. If you get him to curb a couple of the bad things he does, people were tweeting me about he takes too many penalties. I haven't really looked into Zach Smith's stats too heavy. Then he can be a valuable part of your rebuild. Maybe even a guy that you're able to trade.
Mm-hmm.
The old Adam Weil pump and dump, as he says. At some point, you got to ice a team. And some people are like, well, would that roster spot be better with a younger player?
Who's the younger player?
Sure, exactly.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Where's the guy?
Who
People
the
are like,
hell
oh,
is it?
younger guy.
Yeah.
What younger guy?
Where are the
they don't
guys
have
that
anybody.
are coming up to replace any of these guys?
Are they? They're not seriously considering putting Brady Tkachuk on this team, are they?
No.
They better not.
Like, and let me say, he's definitely good enough. Like, I was super impressed watching him.
Yeah, but don't put him in this.
No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, you rebuild for a couple years, and then hit him. hit them with this wave.
Hit him
of
with
youth.
this mediocre roster.
I think the Habs are going to be.
All the return for Erik Karlsson that you haven't
man.
Hit him
waived
with
yet.
the retained Dion Phaneuf
Yeah.
salary.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! How
Hit
did
'em
they
with
retain
that.
on him and the Leafs didn't? Because the Leafs were willing to trade with an Eastern Conference opponent, but that's neither here nor
Yeah,
there.
weird, right?
Hit
Yeah.
him with 40-year-old Bobby Ryan, $20 million.
Or actually, 40-year-old Marion Gaborik. Like,
what are we in?
Who's still trying to make a comeback?
but Montreal, I look at, like, they just sent down Nick Suzuki, who is a player who I was like, oh, he might be good enough, and they might do the same with Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and he might be good enough as well. Imagine none of those guys make the team, and then next year, with all the picks they've had recently, maybe they sell off a couple more guys. They just hit you with this wave. And, you know, they talked about wanting to play faster. Who knows if they're actually going to be? Next year, they will be. They're going to hit you with it.
Yeah.
And the Habs,
And-
I think, will become maybe not a contender, but they're going to be a player in the Atlantic Division
Right.
again in a hurry.
They'll get 20 full games at a Carey Price. It'll be great.
Oh, how dare you, Adam.
How
Watch,
dare
he's
I?
going to win the Vezina.
How dare I?
He's going to win the Vezina.
How dare I? Interesting.
Excuse me.
Interesting thought from, actually, this is fascinating from the 31 Thoughts blog. It's about Doug Wilson and San Jose Sharks. And as a Leaf fan, I think you should pay particular attention to this. I think Penguins are a great example of this. I think the Caps are a great example of this. There are several teams that can do this. And in pro sports, one of the teams that's the best at this are the New England Patriots, as much as that pains me to say. They are a phenomenally run organization, and this is it. Wilson keeps an internal stat that shows how the Sharks have averaged the NHL's worst drafting position since 2003.
What, say that again?
So he has an internal stat that shows that the Sharks have averaged the NHL's worst drafting position since 2003. That's not an internal stat. That's just a fact that you can look up.
Yeah,
Because
that's-
they've made the playoffs.
So many times and consistently.
And
high up in the
gone
standings.
deep.
Yes.
And what they've done, the organization challenges itself to find players that, despite that handicap, and he credits his scouting staff for putting them in the position to make big moves. So what he's
They've
done,
been so good at it.
They have.
I've been saying this for a couple of years, haven't I? The Sharks do a great job of finding mid to late round gems.
and then they are able to either develop those gems or trade them for big time gems like Erik Karlsson,
Exactly.
who they almost. I'm still flabbergasted that they were able to get him for that.
They might turn out to be a couple decent players for the Sens, but the Sharks are going to feel very little of the impact because they got to keep their three best guys. You know? And they're going to be able to replenish that cupboard. I'm surprised they don't maybe trade prospects a little bit more because they're so good at getting them. You know?
Cam Ward played for the Blackhawks last night.
Oof.
The first two shots he saw were both goals. Cam Ward
Good Lord.
Cam Ward frustrates Steve.
He does, and what was that stat? I sent it to you. I think it's in the Facebook group.
Jesse, you wanna pull it up?
Let me see. Here it is. 11 saves on 17 shots.
Now,
His save percentage 647. When you got a Toronto area code as your save percentage, generally speaking, it's a bad sign.
Hold on. Are we including the 905? Because, that's not too bad.
That is still mediocre, and also no, that's GTA.
what is mediocre for save percentage? What's mid? You're 15th in the league. 915?
I can
910?
look it up.
15th in the league?
Yeah, of the top of a starting goalie.
You're probably 916, 917.
When was the last time?
I think a league average, I want to say, is 913.
So when was the last time Cam Ward produced that? Can you remember?
I believe it was 7 years ago. I was looking at this last night. 7 seasons ago, I think he had a 915.
2011, 2012. 915,
There
right
you
on the
go.
dot.
So Cam Ward has had a 910 save percentage or better once since the beginning of Barack Obama's second term in office.
Can I just correct this for a second? The 15th goalie in the league last year, Andrei Vasilevsky, had a 920 save percentage.
Oh,
The 30th goalie in the league, who was Jakob Markstrom, is a 912.
Okay.
okay. So 30th, and so basically,
What was Ward?
Last year, his save percentage was
Go ahead and go to page 2 there, Jesse.
906. Yeah, I haven't found him.
that's actually one of his better save
Go
percentages
ahead and maybe
recently.
go to page 3
He's
there.
40,
Just
43rd.
When was the last time he had a save percentage over 920? Can anyone tell me?
Never?
8 years?
2012, 2011.
He had
or
a
2010,
good-
2011. Sorry.
He had a good 3-year stretch of, hey, Cam Ward's back, and gone. This guy, God bless him, he might be the nicest human being. Someone sent a tweet, and it seemed so ridiculous at first, but I think it's going to happen. He may have his number retired by the Hurricanes one day. And, I mean, is one magical season enough for that, or tenure enough for that? Yeah, I think so. I mean, won the Stanley Cup as a rookie, and wasn't he the Conn Smythe winner?
Yep.
Yeah, if you stick around long enough,
Hard to beat that.
Especially
Yeah,
in
why
a new
not?
city. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you.
I'll give it
Newish.
to
It's
him.
obviously not new anymore.
But how on God's green earth did he, at 34 years old, after 6 seasons of utter mediocrity, consistently being between the 30th and 40th best goalie in the league, you get $3 million?
And a no move clause.
No, he didn't.
He has a full no
Shut
move.
up, you're joking.
A full no movement clause.
So you can't even send him down?
Nope.
Oh, my. Well, doesn't that shoot my Garrett Sparks theory a little bit? Holy smoke. That's if Corey Crawford's no good.
And apparently Corey Crawford's not ready.
Well, and then there's Anton Forsberg, who they also have as an option.
Did you guys hear the 31 Thoughts podcast? They were speculating that Corey Crawford might be done.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah,
retired.
just done. Just Robidaw Island. Yeah.
He was so good.
Jurgen,
was.
Freeman threw that out there.
That sucks.
Is it
Yeah.
still? Did they actually have a name for it? Was it the Vertigo?
I don't know.
Still?
I don't know.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that
awful, man.
sucks.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's and
That's rough.
That's the sort of thing. How do you account for that?
Yeah, you can't.
Like
well,
the
that's
Blackhawks, you can make fun of a few decisions they made. Their starting goalie, arguably a top 10 starter in the
can't.
league,
Yeah.
just all of a sudden can't do it anymore. That's brutal.
Yeah, that's not fair. That sucks.
Not fair is a great way to put it.
Yeah, it really it sucks. That sucks to hear, but it doesn't mean you have to go spend $3 million in a no movement clause. You know what?
Cam Ward.
What's interesting though?
You can do that. You can do that. Don't do it with Cam Ward.
Yeah, what's interesting about it is that you're not getting, if you're Cam Ward, you're not getting a no movement clause unless someone else is interested and probably willing to pay more.
Is Garrett Sparks a great fit in Chicago?
He's from.
He might be the
Chicago?
only fit.
or just outside.
He might have to be the fit.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
If he can go and do it there, all the power to him. I'm just saying I haven't seen it.
I made
I've
the
never
argument,
seen it.
I made the argument last night. The Leafs have 4 goalies better than Cam Ward.
Would Casimir Kaskisuo not be better at this
And
point?
that's what Heart of Lad said, so they might have 5.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Remember when that
No,
was
it's
like
absolutely
It's a
not. Go
little
look at
bit
their
of a-
numbers.
it's a
Oh,
little
Kasky
bit-
Swell?
yes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair
Well,
enough.
it's only because we haven't seen Cam Ward at the AHL level,
But
and we haven't seen Kaskisuo at the NHL level.
I looked at Pickard's NHL numbers, and he was still a 905 with the legendarily bad Avalanche. His
That's pretty good.
I think his NHL career save percentage is better than Ward's. And then there's Sparks, who's a mystery box, but he's coming off of such a good AHL season. Curtis, over the last 3 years, you got to choose between Cam Ward and Curtis McElhinney. If you don't choose McElhinney, you're
You're out of your mind.
I don't know what you've been watching.
Even when he was on the Blue Jackets and not having a good time,
Yep.
he was still better.
He had a part of the reason the Leafs got him, I think, is because he was having a decent time.
And I think
Anyway.
didn't they get rid of him to bring Forsberg up? And then they traded Forsberg for
Ooh,
Panarin.
It was either Forsberg or Korpisalo. I don't remember.
At the
I
time,
think it was Korpisalo.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay. Interesting. Obviously, we got to talk about, and again, we're running out of time here, so I'm moving quickly.
But sorry, just to wrap that up, again, you want to be an NHL GM? Go for it. That's Stan Bowman, allegedly one of the best. And like you said, other GMs probably made offers. Guys are tripping over themselves to give $3 million and a no-move clause to a goalie who hasn't been worth it for minimum half a decade.
When was the last time Stan Bowman was a good GM?
It's a good question. He's had a pretty rough run.
When was the last time they won the Cup?
2010? No.
No, 2015.
Yeah.
Oh,
2010 was the first time out of 3.
Yeah.
So 2015, that's my answer.
I
Give
would,
me a job, please.
I would say
There
if
you
you
go.
base it on performance, it all starts to spiral at the Panarin
What
side.
trade? Yes!
Can't make it to a show without breaking that trade up.
All right.
And also, we brought up Forsberg, too.
We're done.
And by the way, I want to throw this out there.
Drafted DeBrincat. Brenda
Cat.
So there, after that, they were done.
Renat, when the Leafs played Montreal on Monday night, I was reminded of when Byron Frais was playing third line center for the Leafs. Renat Valiev and Byron Frais were both waived yesterday.
Yep.
Made it through, but I mean, if for anybody that may have been upset about those two being traded in the Plekanec deal, which I did see some tweets on.
Well, no, it was Kirby Reichel in the Plekanec deal.
No, because Frais went to Tampa.
Frais was in the Boyle deal. He was in the other fourth line center trade.
Right.
No, Reichel was traded for Hunter Shinkaruk, who's now at the Habs.
Which is weird.
Renat Valiev just made me go, aw.
Yeah.
Aw. There's a guy the Leafs drafted, developed. They're heading into their Calder Cup run, and then they ended up winning it. Aw. But, they have guys who are better.
We got to talk about the new Flyers mascot, Gritty, which is the best. Anybody who doesn't like this, you're allergic to fun. Come on, man.
He was on Good Morning America.
That's the best.
No, he was not.
That's the point. You're supposed to. That's what they're supposed to do. Philly knows how to do mascots, man. The Philly Fanatic is the top mascot.
So wait, you like him?
Yes.
This is not what I thought your take was.
What about you like? That he's just weird and
Yeah,
and
because he's fun. It's so nice to have something fun in the NHL. I thought Pete Blackburn's tweet was so. What's Montreal's mascot's name again?
Isn't it Youppi?
Youppi, yeah. So he's like meth, not even once, and it's Youppi, and then Gritty, side by side.
He's got that crazy face.
He takes a huge fall when he's shooting the t-shirt gun on the ice. I don't know.
Falls on ice.
It's hilarious. It's fun.
He got booed when he was doing the Macarena. It was
in Philadelphia. Never.
No way. He got booed.
It was pretty awesome.
Did Philadelphia do something mean?
No way.
Are they tough on people there?
Now, fans, we call your attention to the video board where Gritty is making a donation at a children's hospital.
Tell him to walk it off. It's just come on, man. Seriously.
What about it do you like? I don't understand.
It's fun. Who cares?
Nobody's scary.
He's not bloody scary.
Here's the thing: the Oilers mascot is scary.
Hunter the Lynx.
No, Death Kitty.
Death Kitty.
Death Kitty is scary.
Yes.
Death Kitty, I'm like, if I was a child, I would be terrified of the Oilers mascot.
I would also be terrified of Gritty over here.
Every Sesame Street character and Muppets character ever is terrifying in that case. Everything. Adults think about it too much.
Elmo's
Kids
cute.
look at the Teletubbies and they go, that's pretty neat. That's great. I like all the pretty colors. Adults go, what is their deal? I'm sorry. They have television stomachs? The son is a baby?
That's genius.
Who is now in their 20s? What's happening there? We think about it too much. Kids just go, look at the crazy guy.
The baby's not in his 20s.
Oh, yeah.
It's perpetually a baby. It doesn't age.
I meant the actor who or what would you even call a baby actor? A placeholder. The placeholder for the baby is now in their 20s, is what I was saying. Go ahead, Jesse.
All I'm saying
I can't wait till my mug comes in the mail.
All I'm saying is what's not to like about Gritty, man. Gritty rules.
I like him.
I'm Team Gritty.
I'm also Team Gritty, and I feel like the name is self-aware.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone, stop. Have fun. Have fun. When did your inner child die? Have fun with Gritty and his crazy orange craziness.
He's orange and he's got hair and his eyes are googly.
Isn't that nuts? Isn't it nuts? He definitely intentionally looks a little bit like Jakub Voracek. It's on purpose. Have fun.
We got to do quickly two more things. We want to get through these quick, okay? Your shout out to Ben Scarps, who is back in the country and ready to take our Stanley Cup predictions every month. So I have to be reminded to do this because we missed a few months last year. So, September Stanley Cup final predictions.
Ooh.
Who wins? Just tell me who wins. Just tell me who wins. That's all I need to know. And do it quick.
The cup.
Who wins the cup?
Oh, my God.
The Leafs win the Stanley Cup this year over the Western Conference, the Edmonton Oilers. The Leafs beat the Oilers in the Stanley Cup finals.
So Jesse predicts the downfall of the country.
All right.
So that's neat. I'm still getting over the Gritty conversation. Leafs, I'm not sure are there yet as of September.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Tampa comes and claims their ball back. They ironically lose in the Stanley Cup final to the team that stole Erik Karlsson from them, the San Jose Sharks.
Whoa. You think the Sharks are that good?
I don't know.
I'm not a believer.
Wow.
I think they're a second-round team.
Burns and Karlsson?
I think they're a second-round team.
They could put one of them on the left for
I
fun. They
don't
could
think-
put Brent Burns back to forward.
I don't think they get through Nashville, and I don't think they get through Winnipeg.
Girl, I don't know.
That's my
about
hot
that,
take.
man. I don't know about that.
Shit, I forgot about Winnipeg.
Yeah, Jets in the finals.
Did you change your answer?
No, it's okay.
Jets and Lightning in the finals. Jets and Lightning in the finals. Lightning win.
You guys
That'd be
both
a
picked
fun
Tampa?
series.
That's not fun. You guys both picked Tampa.
No, I didn't. I picked the. Oh wait, yeah, I did.
You picked
no,
Tampa
I said,
over the
I said the
Sharks.
Sharks win.
Yeah, you said the
Oh,
Sharks.
you're the Sharks.
I said the
too.
Lightning win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't. There's a couple reasons why I didn't pick the Leafs. I think it'll be Leafs Tampa second round because it can't be the Eastern Conference
And
final.
that will be anarchy.
It will be anarchy. But the problem with the Leafs is that if they continue to play Ron Hainsey on the top pairing, which I don't think they will beyond Game 40, I think it'll be a Matt Martin situation.
They
They'll be
got
like,
some things to figure out.
yeah, they'll be like, well, we're doing this right now, but no, he's not good enough anymore, so let's stop doing that. Eventually they'll figure that out, but I just don't think anyone's stepped in and taken his place yet. And I think that's what Mike Babcock is waiting for.
That's fair.
So once someone does that, and I think they will this year, there'll be a situation like when Travis Dermott comes back. I don't see any reason why he couldn't play the right side on the top line. I just don't.
Just random side prediction. Kyle Dubas is going to have a busy fall.
Yeah.
He's going to be fidgety. I think he's going to make a trade or two.
Defenseman?
Might be small. Maybe a defenseman. I wouldn't be surprised if he did some finagling with the goalies.
Question for both of you. Do you see a top pairing defenseman coming into this team before the end of the season?
No.
Gosh,
Trade
if they
deadline.
just wait. If they
Yeah.
just
No.
wait.
No. Wait
we
2
might
years.
have a guy.
Liljegren's going to be in the lineup next year. Sandy in the year after. Don't.
So much of this rides on the season Zaitsev has.
Yeah.
So much of it rides on him. And he's looked good.
He has.
He's looked good. Keep it up, Nikita.
Because he's not bad. He had a bad year.
He's got the tools. So I like what Ian
His
Tulloch said.
contract's
He's got the
bad.
tools.
He's not bad. That's the difference. People see the contract, they go, bad player. No, he's not bad. He was good.
Yeah.
It's that his contract was way too much for way too long, and I agree with you on that. It's terrible.
But if he has like a $5 million defenseman performance this season, all of a sudden everyone goes, oh.
Yeah, and that's actually not even that much anymore. $5 million for a right-handed shot defenseman.
I think you get like 4 just for hitting UFA.
Yeah. And that's the thing you have to remember. Like you point to Shea Theodore, who got 5.2. Well, he's a restricted free agent. Big difference. Big shout out to Brian 5or6. I just want to. We have to fit this in because he's selling his merch right now, so you can buy his T-shirts and sweaters and everything and coffee mugs. All of that money is going to go to the Sens Foundation, which will help provide relief for. I don't know if you know this or not, but there was 2 tornadoes that ripped through there last Friday night. And Brian's actually, his grandmother's old house was destroyed, along with hundreds of others damaged and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of relief efforts going on in that area right now. So if you can look up Brian 5or6 on Twitter, buy a T-shirt. He's got wicked merch anyway. It's hilarious. And he's also an amazing follow, a great guy. You'd be helping people who could really use it.
Help support Ottawa, Canada.
Ottawa, Canada.
How many regular season games is William Nylander going to miss?
0.
10. He's going to get hit. He's going to get cold.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.